The Garrett Perry Podcast, take 17. Devon Flynn? Yeah, there's another Devon in my life.
Is that going to be a take 18 there?
No.
We're keeping the stutters in. We're doing it live.
Yeah, exactly. All in one. Hey, how's it going?
It's going pretty good.
Thanks a lot for coming.
Yeah, thanks for having me. I got to see the kitty wall. I was super excited to see that.
Yeah, it's a sight to behold, really.
So when's that going to make it on to Tourism Prince George? I feel like that should be number one on their site, at least for a week.
I have to finish. There's only 95. My goal's 100.
Well, what's holding you back there, man, aside from interviewing dashing young comedians?
I don't know. It's not like I have ideas for the last 5, but I just can't sit down and paint it.
Been there. I know when I was a student at the university there, you got all your final exams lined up right before the summer. And with each exam you knock out, you get more time to study for the next one. But your energy reserves just dip. Last stretch, you have all this time to study, and you just don't want to.
Yeah.
So,
Do you want a pair of headphones?
Yeah. Oh, now we're rocking.
Yeah, now you feel like you're part of the show now.
I can hear myself. Well, more than normal.
So you have a job in the mental health industry?
That is correct.
What is your job?
I am part of the Gatekeeper program, which is just a very fancy title that provides suicide prevention training for communities across the province. And my kind of area is the North, which, growing up from the North, I know you're from the same neighborhood, same area I'm from.
Mm-hmm.
It's big. It's really, really big, Gary.
Yeah, really far apart between communities, and a lot of communities. Do you have to travel to these communities?
Sometimes. That is, we do Safe Talk, which is a 3-hour suicide awareness training, and Assist, which is a 2-day training.
Okay.
Sorry, to elaborate, I'm only trained in Safe Talk. So the Assist, requiring 2 days, requires a little bit more time out of the office. So I'm only working part-time, so I'm mostly doing the coordinating and bossing my coworkers and telling them where to go.
So you're coordinating. So you're more in like a management position?
It's more admin than people think, yes.
Oh, okay. That's fun.
No, it is, actually.
Is it?
I'm pretty sure I got hired for that job because I am a talker, and you really got to be stubborn in following people up.
Oh, yeah.
Things happen.
So wait, so if somebody misses something, you have to make sure and follow up?
Just returning phone calls. Places get busy. It's hard to remember who you talked to last week about that thing you were going to plan for 4 months from now. So call them up, be like, hey, we still doing that thing 4 months from now? 3 months? 2 months? 1 month? We're coming next week. Are you still there? Please pick up.
Oh, yeah. So just a regular job.
Yeah. And surprisingly, my job may in fact be impacted by the local wildfires.
Oh, of course.
Yeah.
Everything's been impacted by the
It
local
has.
wildfires.
Have you been to the grocery store?
Yes.
Yeah.
It is awful. Just leaving the house, you just see this like layer of doom. It feels like I'm in a Stephen King novel again. Just
There's ash on my car.
exactly.
Ooh.
It's like I don't know. It's like there's the winter season and now there's the fire season, which is a new thing because this is something we experienced last year.
Mm-hmm. In fact, I can't recall where I hear it, but this is supposed to be the norm. Like, this is to different extents, I'm sure. Yeah, we're gonna have big fire problems every year. Thank you, climate change.
Interesting. Yeah, I always hear about these little programs where they start little forest fires to make the forest more immune to it or whatever, just to clean up the brush and stuff.
I think I've heard of, again, I'm not a firefighter, but I've heard there are certain program or techniques. Maybe you fly in a helicopter and you essentially have this fireball shooter. Somebody told me it shoots like little things of like tennis ball size bits of fire. It's controlled fire burning. It's,
yeah,
controlled
that's
burning.
what it's called.
But yeah,
I've
when
never heard
somebody's-
that technique before.
I know, and I was
That
blown
sounds
away when
awesome.
as I'm like, so you guys are essentially shooting fireballs at the ground from a helicopter. He's like, well, yeah, essentially. He really dumbed it down. Like, no, that is so cool. Sign me up. Pretty sure I need some training, but I'll pick it up.
Yeah, geez, it seems like instead of like in Sweden where they make everybody go into the army, it's like they should make everybody go into firefighting now. Just it's gonna be that big of a problem.
Mm-hmm.
We're on fire. Our province is on fire.
I actually have, in addition to my suicide prevention training skills there that Canadian Mental Health taught me, I used to live in Hudson's Hope for just a year. It was for a local government management position, and we got evacuated from Hudson's Hope. So this is about 4 years ago. And it was only after we were evacuated, really horrible time to get a flat tire on your
Oh
car.
no.
Yeah. But anyway, our bylaw officer and slash firefighter guy, he decided, hey, let's put Devon on some emergency planning training. So that's the type of training that when people have to go to evacuation centers, that's running the scenes behind, or running things behind the scenes.
Yeah.
So I haven't used it, but in the future, I'm gonna crack open that notebook that I got there. I'm like, maybe I can get a job with this.
Yeah, well, geez, there's so many people coming to Prince George. They're evacuating from all over the place.
I'm waiting for the wave. I'm actually quite proud of how Prince George handled it last year. Everybody was very receptive, basically open arms, and we made some very good impressions. And again, this actually impacted my job. Once again, I have coworkers that do life skills with different clients of Canadian Mental Health, and there was a huge wave of people just coming from all over, including people who utilize Canadian Mental Health services elsewhere. So we had to be aware of how that might impact our service provision. You know, either people dealing with mental health issues, the stress of being evacuated from a fire. It's a very stressful situation there.
Yeah.
So while we don't provide counseling, there's a lot of people still coming in saying, "Hey, I'm worried about like my stress levels, and like I want to know what I can do about this." And also just are people still getting the services they were given before?
Yeah, just maintaining the status quo in a emergency situation is what it is.
Not even just the status quo. Well, yeah, I see what you're saying, but and a flux to that.
Mm-hmm.
So even when the fires died down last year, we had to deal with extra people staying, the summer. They came to Prince George like, this is a nice town. Let's stick around.
Oh yeah.
So that may bleed into the homeless and shelter problems, but that's a huge topic there. But the point is, we had to be aware of that.
Interesting. So you working in mental health, you've probably experienced some mental health issues in the past, right?
Thanks, Gary. I tend to get that quite a bit, actually. No, I have. So I've been with Canadian Mental Health for going on 3 years now. Knew very little about it. Background is I have no education in health or social work or anything like that. So to work where I do now was actually very surprising for me. But as my coworkers like to remind me, right place, right time. So within the year that I started working at Canadian Mental Health, kind of had my own mental health problems. I experienced my first panic attack.
Oh, fun.
Yeah. And I did, in fact, have to deal with somebody close to me who almost performed suicide.
Oh, wow. Yeah, that's heavy.
Yes, it was. But I'm very grateful to say he is still with us today, and I'm very happy with where I work and used the skills that I now promote and teach.
Yeah, I guess you've witnessed my mental health breakdowns in the past. I've never made them private. At first they were kind of private, but I needed to start talking about them.
And I admire that, Garrett. Like, I know a lot of people think we've still made strides with mental health, and this is what I mean. Even outside of my work, I've noticed in the past 10 years, it's just become more commonplace.
Yeah.
But I wouldn't say we're there yet.
No, I wouldn't say that. I think I lost my job over my mental illness.
And that sucks, my friend.
Yeah.
But you're doing good. You're looking well. And I'm really happy to hear that you're still doing what you love.
Yeah, well, it gives me more opportunities. I would be working on a day like today, just the weekends. Now I'm wide open now.
And that's the thing. A lot of employers are hopping on the mental health train, trying to be very supportive of that, just because they know in the long term, stats will show if you're taking care of your employees with education and counseling opportunities, the EFAP program, that's the Emergency Family Assistance Program, I believe. It's more beneficial in the long run because employees are more likely to stick around. They have a lot more buy-in to their employer, and vice versa, and they're just generally happier. Dealing with somebody nipping a mental health issue in the bud for a couple days of, go home, get some rest, and see somebody, talk about your problems, and see what you need to do, as opposed to something having a full-on mental breakdown is essentially it's much more cost-effective for the employer. We don't want to focus on The fine line being money, money, money.
But that's what a business is.
It is.
Yeah.
You need to look at it from all different aspects. You know, sometimes when you're explaining like different services, like our suicide prevention training, what does it mean for us? Why should we care? Aside from obviously like suicide prevention training being a very dire thing,
Yeah.
it saves you money. It's not just you're preventing somebody from killing themselves. I know that sounds like a very harsh statement, but you are acknowledging mental health and you're encouraging people to come forward and talk about it. It's kind of that. It's kind of a group mentality. Hey, we're all in this together. Let's deal with it.
I like that.
Yeah.
I guess another thing I wanted to bring up was stand-up. So you did say that you're a comedian. So was that an easy label to give yourself?
It kind of was, and it's not something I want to like tout because I don't do comedy like terribly often. There are some diehards in this city, which is fantastic, and they attend a lot of shows and perform outside of Prince George consistently. It is their goal. They want to be big, 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 and eventually have their Netflix special. I will openly admit that is not exactly my prerogative, but I love being a comedian. I love performing. I love making people laugh, and for me, it's just become a very healthy coping mechanism.
Yeah,
Finding
that's
the funny.
Yeah, there's a lot of places to do stand-up comedy within Prince George now. I hear there's a stand-up comedy club, the Sonar. That's
Sonar.
probably huge for the stand-up comedy.
They have an open mic coming up here August 16th, I believe. Going to double check that. Yeah, and I will definitely be going there and trying some new material.
Nice. When you also, on occasion, have been in an improv group.
I have. For a while, I was working really hard with the Nechako Community Theatrics Society. They are not an improv group, but they do, on occasion, perform improv. So for a while, I was really helping out with that, getting very involved, kind of coordinating the games, because a lot of people were asking us to do those. We were playing just warm-up games, vocal games, and kind of teamwork exercises, till somebody said, hey, why don't we actually just make a show doing this? So this was on top of doing regular performances. So,
okay.
Regular theater. So we had some summers where it was definitely a lot of fun and people just loved it. Kind of got the chance to let loose and you didn't have to memorize lines.
Hey, just all the top of your head. There's a couple improv groups in Prince George, isn't there?
I believe there is only one. If anybody knows of a second one, they're probably going to go kick my butt. Improv Schmimprov.
Yeah, they put on shows quite often.
They do. They are regulars, so they are an improv group, and they're amazingly funny, and I highly suggest anybody go see one of their shows because, as we all know with improv, you never know what's going to happen.
Oh, man. When I think of improv, I think of Whose Line It Is Anyway.
That's the classic everybody goes to.
I love that show. I like the old Drew Carey episodes when he's the host instead of Aisha Tyler.
Yeah. I haven't watched too many of the new episodes.
I've only seen a couple.
Yeah, but Colin Mockery, Ryan Stiles, they forever living on in our hearts.
Mm-hmm.
They're not dead. They're just still fond memories of them. Lest anybody. What happened?
Colin Mockery, no.
Well, he's getting up there. He's getting old.
He looks old. Last time I saw him, I think we did a cameo on Corner Gas, and he looked old in that.
Makeup. But yeah, the local improv group. You really find there are a lot of entertainment. There's a lot of entertainment in Prince George. There's a growing art scene as well as film.
Is there?
I'm gonna toot my own horn here.
Cool.
As far as I can. I was recently part of the Jeff and the Ninja television series filmed here in Prince George.
Nice.
I was Russian mobster number 2. I think it was number 2. So very, very small part, but I was super excited to be a part of that. And they are doing the TV series premiere at the Prince George Playhouse September 29th.
Nice. Where is this TV show going to be broadcast?
I believe it's on TELUS Optic TV service.
Oh.
I don't know all the details behind that, when they're going to release it. So I'm still waiting for them to release the trailer.
Oh, wow.
I think they're just they're biding their time. They're waiting for a good day and just boom,
just dropping it like a bomb.
And they're like, look, there I am in the background. That's me,
Russian spy number 2.
Yeah, I did adopt a Russian accent during the auditions, and the guys just loved it. Like, Devon, we love your enthusiasm. But eventually they decided they want to limit the Russian accent to the Russian mob boss,
Okay.
which I kind of, really amp him up. And I'm not going to say any more, but the guy is just awesome. He nailed it. Super threatening, but amazingly, like, I'm one of those. I'm only like 5'6". I'm a fairly short guy there, and I was standing next to these big, huge, two burly guys that looked like they could have easily been in the mob. But behind scenes, we were laughing and cracking jokes. But it was a very positive experience. The directors and the producers were very cognizant that a lot of us were amateur actors. Some of us had never been in a movie, and although I'd been on stage and on in shows, live audiences, this was very different. I think one of the things that really surprised me was just how long the process is.
Oh, just sitting around and waiting.
Yeah,
Hurry up
take
and wait.
after take after take after take, and just the waiting even before the taking goes on. It's just part of the process there. So I think I really appreciated the work that goes, and that was my first time being in a movie, really.
That's fantastic.
Yeah, but everybody
so it's a
worked really
TV
well.
show, you said?
Mm-hmm. I called it a movie once, and they got mad at me. It was like, it's not a movie, because I think they refer to it as a movie once. That is how long it is in the storyline, but they are breaking it up into small TV episodes, which they will be releasing periodically. Again, the specifics I am not aware of.
Yeah, as far as I remember, they won a grant, a contest.
Yes, it was through TELUS Story Hive, something to that effect.
Okay.
Yeah, they got a grant, and they've always the guys in charge, John Shuby and Jeremy Abbott. They always wanted to produce this film. Apparently, it's kind of been one of their pet projects for quite some time.
Yeah,
so
they made a short film about it previous.
Yeah, I think I only saw a small clip of their kind of
I don't think
demo
I've seen
reel.
it. Yeah.
So anyway, yeah, September 29th, the premiere of Jeff and the Ninja. Oh, I hadn't really explained what it's about. It's about a guy named Jeff and Ninja.
Oh, fantastic. Very straight to the point.
The ninja is his roommate.
Oh.
And hilarity and bloodshed ensues. Again, not going to reveal too much there.
So check it out. That's awesome. Speaking of film, one of the ideas I had a long time ago was when I was in Katimavik. I had this idea. I wanted to well, it wasn't even the idea of actually putting it on. I've always wanted to participate in like a 24-hour film contest where you go and you get a theme and you get a prop the day of, and then you got to go out and you got to write and produce a short film, and they'll be screened the next day, like 24 hours later.
That would be cool.
Wouldn't it?
So this would be like a whole kind of a movie show, like a bunch of different groups doing it?
Yeah, exactly. You'd sign up your group, and you'd have like your actors and the film guy or whatever. Yeah,
I think that'd be awesome, actually, and quite doable, because as we've discussed there, making a movie is a lot of hard work, and obviously you would probably lower the standard a bit. It's kind of like writing an essay, for a final exam in under 3 hours. It's not going to be the greatest, but you're going to have a finished product.
yeah,
Right? So you're probably not going to have like great sound, probably a little bit better than like cell phones.
Who knows? Like, the technology is so readily available. Maybe there would be a group that use cell phones to shoot their film.
But my point is, like, all you need is literally one day. People just go and they go hard. Like, that's much more doable than like planning. The hardest part about I find, even if not theater or making a movie, is just getting people in the same room. Scheduling, man, that's the hardest part.
Definitely, especially when you're working with a lot of people who don't act as a full-time job and they have regular jobs and everything.
No, and that's very true. That is, they are passionate, but they're doing it for free. So I commend the producers and the writer, just everybody who was involved, who had to wait patiently for a day in which they could probably get, say, 95% of the cast.
Did you get paid for this film?
No.
No?
It was strictly voluntary, and I was perfectly content with that. Everybody was positive. We had a great time. And occasionally there were craft food services.
Ooh.
Yeah.
How long did it take you to film your part?
My part was a little bit sporadic. Again, it was a very small part, so we filmed some parts at Carl's Jr.
Nice.
We had to film outside of Prince George in Blackburn in some guy's garage.
Isn't Blackburn still on Prince George?
Yeah,
It's like the outskirts. It's
Outskirts.
like the airport.
yeah. So that being said, I knew when they said, "Hey, Devon, we need to reshoot something. It's just a small part, but we really need you." It's an establishing shot, I think. I was like, "Yeah, I'll go. I'll make it work for you guys because I know you probably want to get that little shot that sounds necessary done and over with. I'm there." So I think the biggest attribute that I lent to the production was just being available.
That's awesome.
On a whim. And I know not everybody can do that. Fortunately, I have a flexible schedule. So, yeah, want to help these guys out. I'm there.
Yeah, I wish I got involved with this project. I want to be an actor. That'd be sweet.
Well, who knows when they're going to be doing their next project?
Yeah.
Just pay attention to Facebook there. Join some local theater groups, even if you're not acting with them. Because we like to share information. I think that's the big thing that makes Prince George pretty good is that
There's a community.
there's a community. I know Norm Coyne, who started the Northern Fan Con, he has been a huge pusher for the film industry in Northern BC. I know they have, I believe it's Barkerville Films.
Yeah, they
Barker
produced
Films?
a film for them.
Yeah, for the Sherlock Holmes video from Stephen King's Dollar Babies.
Is that what it's from?
Yeah, so Stephen King, again, forgive me if I don't have the exact details, he was offering the license for his short stories, because he used to write a lot, Stephen King, to be produced as a film. So we would sign over the rights for $1, hence the name Dollar Babies.
I've heard about that.
And I don't know who wrote the story, but I think Norm Coyne really pushed for it to get made. Again, I don't know his exact involvement. And he's the only individual I know.
I think his technical term is the producer, and
He was
the
the
film
producer.
was The Doctor's Case.
Yes,
Yeah.
and I have seen it. It's an amazing film, so I was really happy to. I think I saw it when the premiere came out.
Nice.
So it was a nice little opportunity, and he's been a huge supporter of different groups. He's very supportive of the active cosplayers in Prince George.
He's a part of the Citizen, isn't he? Like the events organizer at the Citizen or something?
Yeah, I think so.
He's the one that I should get a hold of about the 36-hour, 24-hour film contest.
He would be, and if not him directly, he would be able to point you in the right direction, give you a list of resources, maybe things you hadn't considered. Call up Norm. Norm, if you're hearing this, give Garrett a call.
Maybe I need to give him a call. Maybe he needs to come on my podcast.
I think he'd be great to have on here, actually.
Yeah, it's kind of cool having this open format. I never really expected to be doing a podcast like this.
Yeah, I wasn't sure if you were going to be putting me on GP Does PG there, but like podcast, like should I? That's why I asked, like, should I like do my hair, like dress up? I got a little fancy, put on a little bit of cologne for you, Garrett.
Right on.
I like to smell good myself. But
I wasn't smelling you, but I probably should have done the same. Rub stink.
okay, could have used a little more.
I don't know. I have a sensitive nose when it comes to perfumes and stuff too, so sometimes I think it stinks.
Well, then maybe I used just enough.
Yeah, there you go. It's just perfect enough. I mentioned this before, but I went to Katimavik, and you also went to Katimavik. It kind of like fell in the same pathway that you went for a little while.
Mm-hmm. So for those of you who don't know, Katimavik was a national volunteer program where you would spend 3 months in a community, 3 different communities, but then they did shorten it to
6 months.
To 6 months in 3 different communities or 2?
It was 3 when I did it in 6 months, but they shortened it down again to 2 communities. So it's 3 months.
Yeah, and then the Conservative government cut the funding completely because they weren't very fond of it having the Trudeau name tag attached to it. It was a
But it wasn't the first time that Katimavik was cut
No, it was
by a
not.
Conservative government.
Jacques Hebert, who was a close friend of Trudeau, they started the program, went on a hunger strike to bring it back in the late 80s, I believe.
Yeah, not Trudeau, but
No, Jacques Hebert.
yeah.
He went hungry. So that's dedication to something you believe in, and obviously biased because, we both attended, but I found it was a huge stepping stone for me, getting out and seeing my country, learning a little bit of French, learning about the environment, cooking skills.
Yeah, that was huge.
It was a little bit of everything, so.
You went to Sault Ste. Marie as well. No, I guess we stayed in the same house.
On Pine Street?
Yeah.
Oh, man, I didn't know we lived in the same house.
I think so. I remember you saw a picture of me and you're like, oh man, are you in Katimavik? It's like
Yeah.
Sault Ste. Marie.
That tiny little duplex?
No, I think we might have been in a different house.
Oh, that would have been so cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's funny because I'm sure you're very well aware Katimvik makes your world 10 times smaller. The fact that, we lived in the same community is just one of those examples.
Do you keep in contact with your old Katimavik group at all?
We've kind of fallen out a little bit, just naturally. I think
Yeah.
the ways of Facebook there, everybody knows what's going on in everybody's lives to some extent.
Oh man, a lot of people from the group blocked me or like unfriended me.
What?
And I unfriended somebody recently too that I went to the group with. It was funny.
That's life, man. I know you get so tight knit, but sometimes you just fall away, and those who stick around. It's not just Katimvik, it's work, it's school. It happens.
Yeah, that's true. I've been experiencing that a lot recently with like my mental health issues. I've seen a lot of friends go to the wayside in almost dramatic ways too. It's like,
yeah, and I don't want to necessarily paint them as like, oh, cut out the negative from your life. People are dealing with their own stuff.
yeah,
I've had different family members kind of take some distance away from me because they were dealing with their own stuff. They just couldn't afford that time or energy. It was nothing about our relationship. They were just them dealing with themselves. And sometimes on the surface, we don't always see that.
yeah, that's fair.
So I know it's easy to get bogged up. Well, block me, will you? Screw you.
Block you too.
Yeah. Oh, the pettiness. But nah, just shrug it off. Hope the best for them. Move on.
All right. Here's another idea I had that I've actually executed to some point. It's kind of like I've imagined it as like an improv group, but we're all musicians. But it's almost like in the same line of what's that fake band that made a movie back in the 70s?
Oh, Spinal Tap?
Yeah, exactly. In the same area of Spinal Tap, only our name is Pink Riot. And yeah, I just wanted to release kind of videos, comedy videos, but like do it on like a Facebook format and really short.
Facebook would be super easy to share them on. I'm not a musician. I'm not big on the music scene. I'll admit that.
Mm-hmm.
But I think it'd be great to like make some fake or faux music videos. It sounds like.
Yeah, or whatever. One of the only idea I have that would be like a good comedy video is that one of the band members would be like burping on my stuff, and we'd have like an intervention about it. That was the idea.
And cue the music soundtrack.
Yeah. I think it's a great idea. Every time that we start, like, I want to get together with a group of friends and start producing something, it always kind of boils back down to Pink Ride anyway. So I think I just want to start it off in the first place.
Is there something about that name that just tugs at your heartstrings there?
No, actually, like, my roommate came up with the name. It was just the idea of the band. We gave characters to each of us. I called myself Black Dynamite the very first time, but we decided that wasn't good enough. So
I like it.
We switched it to Paul McCartney Jr., then Little Lemmy, and then Moist.
You're going to lose some subscribers over that one there.
I love it.
It was actually one of my friends from Katimavik there, Katie, if you're listening. Moist. So I can hear people screaming at us, "Shut up, Devon, stop it."
I don't know why people find it so passionate, like just that word.
I don't know what
I wanted to use cunt actually, to be honest with you, but moist is, you could say that about a cake or something. Like, it's not.
You know what it
vulgar.
is? I think it's so onomatopoeic.
Onomatopoeic.
I love that word as well.
Nice.
Mm-hmm. Because when you say moist, you know what you think? Moist things.
Moist.
And that's so vague. It can be something as lovely and innocent as cake, or it can be as dirty as a band named Pink Rat.
I thought you were going to say vagina.
So do you play an instrument yourself?
Vaguely. I've played the bass a little bit, but I'm not really musically inclined.
So you're not all about that bass,
No. If in the Pink Riot, I'll be the vocalist.
Oh, okay.
I
think I did see a clip of you posted of you singing, and like, I didn't know that man got some lungs on him. Yeah, Garrett, belt it out, Black Dynamite, or what was your
Little Lemmy?
Little Lemmy,
Moist.
Yeah.
And then the lead guitar.
Just shuffle the names around. What am I today? Who am I?
Yeah, exactly. I'll be Paul McCartney Jr. How much time's left on that camera? It's just running out. And yeah, smooth. The guitarist's name was Boob Job Majobski. He had a last name.
Sounds ethnic.
Mm-hmm.
A little bit of Spanish in there.
Our drummer was Slot Machine. He would drum with one arm because he was a fan of Def Leppard. But he has both arms, so he just put one behind his back and
I think I've seen a clip of it was a musician. It was a drummer with one arm just belting away on a drum set, and it sounds like if you close your eyes, it would sound just like a regular drummer, and just like, oh my god,
yeah,
the guy is just lightning fast.
Yeah, when they have only one arm like that, they have to get more like foot pedals and stuff, and they have to really
adapt.
And I don't know, it's almost inspiring.
Oh yeah, super inspiring. It's kind of like you watch those videos of like an animal that loses a limb or something, and I find those almost even more inspirational. Well, being that they don't care, they don't have self-esteem issues. The next day, once everything heals, they're back running around. Sometimes they got to be on two legs if they got to lean back, but like they're still playing, they're still running, they're still eating, they're still living day to day. And they're not letting what people think of them get them down because they're pets and they don't have that kind of cognitive ability. Yeah. And that's admirable.
Yeah, just to be a pet and not give a fuck.
But that being said, I know it's kind of a Terry Fox syndrome I've heard. I think that's kind of a name of it. People who get injured or have to deal with like life-changing physical disabilities, not all of them want to be Terry Fox. Not all of them want to be an inspiration. Some of them just want to do their goddamn job and go home. And it's kind of a counter thought process that, just because you were injured and maybe you lost an arm doesn't mean you need to be this newsworthy icon. This isn't me talking. I've heard this online.
Mm-hmm.
Read some articles there. And yeah, not everybody wants that notoriety. Not everybody wants to be an inspiration. Some people just want to be themselves.
I think that's fair.
Yeah, so
there's definitely, I don't know. When I think about that, I think about like just being famous or something and wanting not the notoriety, but the positive.
You want that. You still want support.
Yeah.
But support in doing what you want to do, not making yourself out to be this image that everybody else wants.
I remember breaking my leg in grade 9. I was in a mechanics class, and I almost came kind of like my image for a little bit, having a broken leg.
Broken leg Garrett, coming to class.
Hobbling around. I actually took a lot of time off school just because I could, I think. And it also sucked hobbling around. I didn't want to catch the bus.
Yeah, no kidding. And you got a long bus ride there. That's a lot of hobbling and bumping.
And I think it was right in the middle of the winter. Or no, it was like January, February. So I didn't want to fall down or anything. So
makes sense. Break your other leg. How'd you do that? I slipped because I only had crutches.
Oh, man. I wrote this down that you were the grade 8 drama teacher's assistant when I was in grade 8.
Somebody actually brought that up the other day. Yes, I was. So I think in grade 9 or 10, I was watching over you youngins for the day because you drove the teacher so insane, somebody needed to keep you guys in line. Barb, if you're listening, I'm sorry we gave you such a hard time.
I did too. I was a grade 8 drama teacher.
Oh, really?
Yeah, when I was in like grade 11 or 12, yeah.
Yeah. I never really thought about that kind of trajectory. Although, I went back to Hazleton for a weekend the other day, and I caught up with an old friend of mine, Maggie Carew, a lovely British lady. She's getting up there in her 80s or 90s, and she was with us when I joined HATS, the Hazleton Area Theatrical Society. So we dressed up like old pioneers, and we do small plays. And we even wrote an original piece on Dr. Rinch, who started the Memorial Hospital there. So anyway, Maggie is a wealth of knowledge. Where I was
born.
Yeah. Maggie was a wealth of knowledge, and we shared some fond memories of starting up in HATS, which is parallel to when I was doing the drama class.
Cool.
Yeah, so there was a lot of collaborative work.
I sometimes think about my high school. Sometimes, oh man, I wake up in like cold sweats sometimes because I'm like, I missed the bus, or like I have an English assignment due and I missed it.
Big, tall vice principal, Mr. Vandermark, standing over you. You're late for class.
He never gave me a problem.
No, he played favorites.
He was. I think he was only there when I was in grade 8. I think he left really early on to Smithers.
Yeah. Oh, Mr. Vandermark, we missed you. You gave us a hard time. We gave you a hard time back. I used to do the morning announcements, and he would always give me a hard time there, and we'd had a little banter back and forth there. How's it going there, Shorty? Sup, Baldy? And we went on with our days.
Nice. Yeah. He was huge, wasn't he?
He was built like a triangle brick shithouse. Like, I remember my mom telling me, Dev, if he gives you crap, my mom was a very vocal person. I think you've met her once or twice. She said, just kick him in the ankles. He's got old ankle problems when he played basketball. He'll just topple.
No,
Mom, are you advocating I physically assault our vice principal? Okay. She's shorter than me, so she don't take no shit from no one.
I think I do remember your mom, yeah.
Yeah. She's a memorable woman.
Man, I'm almost out of talking points. I want to do another thing. I want to bring my show GP Does to the stage. I want to do like a live event.
Oh, that'd be sick.
Kind of like in the same way that Tom Green did his show.
Yeah, kind of like a talk show, really.
A talk show, kind of, almost. But I don't know if I want to take it more like the Tom Green route or take it more, my next guest needs no introduction, the Netflix with, what's his face? The guy from TV.
Gonna need to narrow it down a little bit.
Talk show host, retired recently.
Oh,
Colbert took his spot, I think. Or no, is that the right one?
Come on, Rain. There's so many late night talk show hosts. It's hard to keep up. So. I know who you're talking about.
Yeah, he's got a big beard now.
Yeah, you'd be a dead ringer for him in his younger years.
Yeah,
I think he could pull that off.
Maybe I'll make like a biopic. If he could ever remember his name. Oh, now this is gonna bug me.
Yeah, this is bugging me too. Oh my goodness. I'm great with names and like idle conversation. Like somebody's asking me, oh yeah, that's the guy from this movie that he did in the late '80s there with his co-star, this person, and a little known trivia fact. Boom. It's like, Devin, we didn't ask about that. All this random knowledge until somebody asks for it specifically. Who was that guy? The late night talk show. I'm like, oh Jesus.
Oh, I got it. David Letterman.
David Letterman. A very popular and well-known late night talk show.
He's not on every day anymore. He only has 6 episodes a year, so
he's somewhat faded into obscurity.
I'm glad that he's not.
No, that's somebody told me he did a excellent talk show with Obama on it. Obama was a recent guest.
Oh, nice. You know what? I think I've seen every episode except the Obama, because I think that was it got to episode 6. That was the last one, and I just saw the one.
And who else there? That same problem there. I'm going to put you on the spot. That popular radio talk show
Howard Stern.
Yeah, you nailed it. Yeah. Howard Stern has some great discussion with David Letterman about being on a radio talk show and just the difficulty in not just the regular rigmarole, but dealing with like emotional guests or like really drawing out some of those stories. Anyway, I heard it was a really good discussion, and somebody suggested I check out that interview. So
it's a good one. I enjoyed it. I don't remember too much about it.
Yeah, just another notch on the to-watch list.
Yeah, exactly. That list is getting so big.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, man, I still have to watch The Godfather. It's like, no.
Yeah, so it's like, Devin, that's a classic. Like, there's lots of classics. It's on my list.
Yeah, exactly. I hate that. Like, playing that game was like, oh, you haven't seen that movie? It's like, let's not start playing that game because I haven't seen a lot of movies.
I try to be careful. I know Game of Thrones, I hopped on that bandwagon. A friend gave me some books, and I thoroughly enjoyed them. George R. R. Martin paints a world for you filled with debauchery and love and hate and just so many emotions. And then, of course, I watched the TV show and it was like, yeah, I can see why people are into this. This shit is awesome. Dragons, yo! But a friend of mine was like, Devin, I don't want to watch it just because of the fandom. And I realized like I was slowly turning one of those. I'm like, but you need to watch it. I think mostly you just want to share a passion with somebody.
Yeah.
Just because something is popular does not mean it's bad. Sometimes it's the fan base. I think a good example of this is Rick and Morty.
Mm-hmm.
Great show. I loved it. And I'm usually a very slow starter on a lot of things that are popular.
Yeah.
Unfortunately. But I could see how some fans, jumping on the countertops at McDonald's demanding Szechuan sauce, Szechuan sauce. Okay. They're just demanding Szechuan sauce because of the popularity. Yeah, it's stupid and arrogant. It's just a few individuals that are ruining it for the rest of us.
I understand that.
But
for
you
sure.
can still be passionate without being a douche.
Mm-hmm. I had a friend on Facebook list off all the shows that he hadn't seen, and it was just like I seen like lots of them, and the only one I felt passionate about just to comment, and that was Breaking Bad, because that's the one I actually saw all the way through.
I love that show. Just like I like the premise when I first heard of it. Chemistry teacher starts making meth to pay for his chemo, and you're just like, oh my god, it tugs at the heartstrings just in the description. The moral ambiguity. Yes, let's put this on, see what happens. By the end of the first episode, he's making meth, and he's in his underwear in the desert. Spoilers for anybody. Oh, just screw you if you haven't seen it. That's the first episode. I'm like, this show moves fast. I thought there was going to be build-up of him, like, learning he had chemo and, like, learning about meth and debating it and, toying with it in his mind.
No,
a couple
they didn't
episodes,
bury the lead.
No, they jumped right into it. And the show just kept that pace, and I think that's why it was so good. It not to sound cliche, but it kept you on that roller coaster. It's going fast, and it's hard to get off.
It's an exciting show. I hope they bring it back. I think they can, because I was watching that last episode, and Bryan Cranston, I don't think he died. I don't think his character died, Walter White. I think he lived.
I've been hearing, like, they're bringing it back. They're not bringing it back. They might bring it back. They're not bringing it back.
I never heard anything except I've seen a few interviews with Bryan Cranston, and he seems like he wants to do it at least.
They had a great bit. They were doing some sort of fundraiser. It was just a video there. Bryan Cranston's in a trailer. Living out of a trailer while Jesse, I forget the gentleman's name.
Aaron Paul.
I'm so polite. The gentleman who was on that show.
Jesse.
He's giving a tour of like a Universal Studios, I think.
Yeah.
Whatever the film production. And they find him, and they're like, Brian, good to see you, man. Are you living here? Is that a shit bucket? Have you been shitting in the trailer? It's the same trailer from Breaking Bad. She's like, we need to get back and make the TV show, man. The great times. It was great. Let's do that again. He's like, no, it's over, man. So eventually they kind of both just like, yeah, let's bring the TV show back. Wasn't the point of the video. It was more just to promote the fundraiser, but it was still kind of funny. Just that fondness of things past.
Yeah, when they do stuff like that, like it brings up a lot of questions, and it brings back the possibility of them revamping. It seems like that's the way the world is right now, and they brought back Roseanne and all those shows.
Look how that lasted. I think it's a difficult decision for Hollywood when something is just making money and gains that sort of popularity. The cash cow. Unfortunately, I think Hollywood is bad for this. They'll milk the shit out of anything that can make money.
Yeah.
Leave it be.
Yeah, that's probably why we'll never see Seinfeld come back.
Which brings up the question, why are there certain things they absolutely refuse to bring back? Like, I know the classic fanboy thing, Firefly.
Mm-hmm.
Some good old Nathan Fillion there. I'm curious as to the formula there, that they know they will wring something so much to make money out of that nobody wants, and then there are certain things that everybody's like, we want more. Like, no. Sorry, guys.
Yeah, well, when they canceled Family Guy, they brought that back years later, and now it's...
There was I watched an interesting video about somebody describing how Seth Green kind of hit that mark, and it was
MacFarlane or Green?
MacFarlane.
Yeah.
It was shortly after that episode of Brian Dies, and it was not terribly subtle about how like that was actually the death. Brian's death on the show was more symbolic of the death of Family Guy, in which had it peaked, it reached its pinnacle, and Seth MacFarlane was starting to move on to other things, other projects. He did the
A Million Ways to Die in the West.
A Million Ways to Die. He started producing. He was the Oscar host, was it?
He did that 2 years, didn't he? Or did he just the once?
I think it was just the once. But he started moving on, and I think he was more or less content with what he did. But because it was popular vote, he brought Family Guy back, which kind of took a dip. It's not the same.
I think they came back strong when they first came back, but then like around the time that Brian died, it wasn't a dip, and I think that was...
I don't think it was that exact moment. Like the show, you're right. It's not like the very next episode of the new season, just like, wow, this is crap. And I'm not saying the TV show...
it's just like the format kind of gets stale. Like you know what to
stale,
expect.
yeah.
I think they've switched it up a lot in the newer stuff.
Oh, they have?
I think so. I've watched when I was working at CKPG, they would play it on Sundays, so I get paid to watch it occasionally. So,
I think South Park had a great take on that with their whole manatee thing, and Simpsons did it, and then they take a jab at Family Guy, which the punchlines of jokes are just random nouns and verbs and phrases taken from a manatee tank and spliced together. And they even like show an example in that episode of mocking Family Guy, and you're like, holy crap, that sounds a lot like what they do. I feel like
that was a great episode.
It's Oh, it was great. Almost interchangeable jokes. I think the best, and a lot of people would argue the best episodes are the ones with Brian and Stewie when they establish that rapport. You know, they have characters, and they've developed those characters to some extent. I like when they actually go somewhat meta, and like they'll like bring up Stewie. Weren't you like all about global domination and like killing Lois? And he's like, I'm over it. So they are aware, but you're right. I think they have a formula. They know what works to some degree, and they're just kind of running with it. So maybe in the later seasons they've improved.
Yeah. Same with like The Simpsons and stuff. They kind of went and I don't know.
I've noticed like in The Simpsons there, random family member gets random skill, adventure ensues. Bart gets a sense of smell, Homer gets a new job, Marge takes on a new extracurricular, another job. Somebody gets into a relationship. I'd like to see storylines a little bit more dynamic than.
I'd like to see them grow up at this point. It's like it's been 30. It's been 30 years,
and he's been wearing the same shorts.
They must smell.
That is going to be a moment to remember, to really pay attention to when Simpsons goes off the air, when they officially say we're done.
Like, I don't think that's gonna happen.
I don't see it happening anytime soon. But when it does, like, that's gonna be
biblical.
Yeah. Remember when they made the bloody movie, Simpsons movie? That'll never happen. No, they did it.
Yeah, and it didn't seem to like hurt their stride or anything.
And some people really speculated that would.
Good to be the end of it for them. Yeah, that's what I thought. But the movie was great.
And at this point, it kind of feels like a little bit of a blip on the radar. Like it happened. I saw it. It was funny. It had its moments.
It's just like another episode at this point.
We all saw Bart's pecker. We moved on.
Yeah. When they did the South Park movie, that was right after they did season 1, I think. Like, it was just right out of the gate that they did that. And I don't know. That was a pretty powerful film, I think. The South Park movie is hilarious.
Yeah.
It's a musical. It's got everything.
It's going to be a bit of a stretch, but I'm going to tie this all back together with comedy and mental health, because I'm playing these thoughts in my mind here. Having those sort of programs there, the TV shows, the movies, you know, we talk about like the worry that a movie is going to be the end all, or it's going to be like something huge. It's going to be a huge shift. But when it comes to either being funny on stage or dealing with like a mental health crisis, I'm of the mindset that, you know, you do what you can with it, make the movie big, try your best, be successful, tell a joke on stage, but you can't ride on that forever. Eventually you got to move on to new things. Seth MacFarlane did it. Rather than pining for the past in a TV show that he may have felt was just done, he moved on to other things.
Yeah.
So whether it was good or bad, it's kind of a Buddhist approach there. Things are passive. Good. It's kind of like the yin and yang. I know there's a saying there through Buddhism. Damn it, I'm losing track here. But the idea is things are fluid. Good things happen, bad things happen. Be present, enjoy them as best you can, or if you can't enjoy them, learn from them, and then move on. But it's becoming fixated on things, good or bad, in the past that will hold you there. So either it's comedy or mental health. Life is a journey, and we all move forward. Holy crap, I didn't think it was going to take this so much of a dramatic turn. I'm crying myself a little bit here.
That might be a good way to wrap up the episode. I'm almost out of... Oh, wait. Oh, man, I wrote some poems. You want to hear my poetry?
I'm already kind of feeling a little emotional here, man. I don't know if I could take it. Yeah, hit me with a poem. A GP original.
Poems. I wanted to write a poem, so I did. Here it is. Do you like it? Don't answer. That's some great poetry. Another poem. Dang, darn, damn it, goddamn motherfucker, cocksucker. The end.
Riveting.
A longer poem. Filled with anger, a repressed emotion to me. At least humor and love isn't as repressed. A short poem. Fuck you. A poem from my heart. Pump, 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 etc. A poem.
Does it just keep going on like that? I hope so.
Yeah, it does. A poem from my butt. And I spelled that THBT, THBBT, THBT. Okay.
The fact that you went out of your way shows your dedication to these poems to spell it. If you go international, you may have to translate that.
Yeah, exactly. I don't know how to translate that yet, but I guess that's what translators
French,
are for.
Spanish, el.
Here is my number. It doesn't reach me. The number is 3. If patience is a virtue, why do I have to wait? Hold on 2 seconds. 1, 2, now what? I guess I could wait. Now what? Yeah, that's my poetry.
Those are great, actually. No, I genuinely enjoyed those. I have mixed feelings about poetry because I know somebody was telling some poetry, and they said just like, oh, it's more modern. It's post-traditional. Because I was saying like, well, is there rhyme? No. Well, are there like lines or stanzas or anything? Like, no, nothing like that. It's just a poem. Like, it's just words. Like, I support anybody being creative, but it's hard to gauge whether something is good or bad when there is such an extent of freedom.
Mm-hmm.
You feel what you feel. But that's kind of like somebody just like swiping a single paintbrush in on a canvas and like, this is art, $10,000. I'm like, no, it's crap. God forbid. Or hey, that's great if you can score somebody buying that $10,000 one swipe paintbrush piece of art.
But most people will be able to tell that it's not art.
But how can you tell what's good versus what's bad? Like, how do you challenge yourself? If you're just mashing words on, I notice that when I get really passionate, my arm sticks up. I'm really noticing there.
Just covering yourself.
Tell me more about your poetry. Yeah. How do you gauge something good versus bad, or quality? If if you just smack something onto a canvas or on film or on paper and just like, that's mine, it's good, don't question it.
Yeah, with like having that. Wait, like a collaborative thing?
Well, a collaborative thing would require just that, collaboration, and a series of people agreeing something is good. We've made this together. So I think it's a microcosm of quality. We're all happy with what we put together because we worked on it together. You have other people to get feedback from.
Exactly. And you don't really get that with poetry or painting necessarily unless it's your next poem or painting.
Well, you can, but when you just don't have any sort of restrictions on yourself, again, your own quality control, if you're just completely content, it's like writing. If you're completely content with your first copy all the time, there's a good chance you are not going to respond well to any criticism, positive or negative.
That's fair. Should we wrap this bitch up?
Let's wrap this bitch up. Put a bow on it.
Final thoughts?
Find the funny in life. Keep on challenging yourself. Find the good and the bad, and I don't want to say the bad and the good.
The good, the bad, and the ugly. Some classic movies.
Yeah. Be funny. Be safe. Be good to people.
Right on, man. Thanks, Devon. Devon
Thanks.
Flynn, GP Podcast number 17.
Woo.
And cut.